Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career. However humble, it is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness, beyond a wholesome discipline. Be gentle with yourself.
You are a
child of the universe. No less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God.
Okay.
Perceive him to be.
Yes, one of my favorite songs, and it always take me back to my childhood days. That's when I used to hear that song. But we're going to jump into what we want to talk about tonight, because as usual, our time is running away with us. And we're talking about the great marijuana tonight. Yes, the other name for it is pot or hemp or hash. What other name you call it? Its correct biological name is cannabis. Its name derived from partial Spanish, mari and guana, okay? And it really is, it's widely grown around the world. This is not exclusive to any one country, because it is easy to be grown. It loves lush tropical areas, and it just grows without any great need for nurturing. All right, and it really was first identified in 27 BC, and you know that BC is the Latin word for before Christ. All right, so you must know how far back it was identified or in the world at that time. Actually, in the country of China, where the Shennong was the first empire that actually identified it. It was also found in the Middle East, close to that time period, North Africa, and the Western Hemisphere. It was introduced more in that point in time by the Spaniards, yes, and also was imported eventually to Chile. Then Asia, 500 BC, it was now embraced as a herbal medicine, okay, and arrived in America and the Western Hemisphere, eventually bringing it into small islands like Jamaica by the indigenous Indians, okay. But let us examine real quick the reason why that plant was nurtured at that time. It was used to make ropes, so it was called hemps, or make hemps, they would call it at that time. So it was used to make ropes and textiles, okay? And then it went on to being recognized as being able to do mind-altering effects, things on the mind. And so you would have the ancient Chinese and so on that start taking it in for a little health purpose, according to them, or mind purposes, Okay, the Shanghai was first found, and hold on, let me before I say them, the Iranians, some nomads found in the Iran used to, they were the first, one among the first set that was seen putting this, inhaling the smoke from the seed and the flower of this plant. Okay, so this mind-altering thing that was discovered at that time started giving what you would call a feel-good feeling. Okay, and that particular feel-good comes from a chemical, the chemical T as in tango, H as in Harry, and C as in Cavell. Okay. And let me try and call the proper name of it. It is tetrahydrocannabidiol. Am I correct? Anybody can call in and tell me that I'm calling it properly. But it is tetrahydrocannabinol. Okay? And this worked its way into the religious ceremonies in some countries. Okay, some countries like Jamaica, for example, wherein the Rastafarians would take it as a part of their religious ceremonies, and the government allowed it. Allowed them to do that as their ceremony. As a matter of fact, it is legal that way, but it is not legal publicly on the Jamaican platform and under many other countries. But it was used at that time for religious ceremonies. In Siberia was the same thing. China, Ethiopia, etc. This religious ceremonies where they say it takes them to another level. That's what this drug was used for. Notice it's evolving itself from being a household plant, wherein it is used to make textiles, ropes, and it was called hemp, H-E-M-P at the time. Move itself up to start being embraced as a mind altering. And then we are going to go a little further now. How was it eventually discovered as medicinal, or at what point in time medicinal purposes was now extracted for it, or it was discovered as a medicinal thing? All right? So that is what. But if you don't believe me that it can, it does mind-boggling thing, you wait until you hear some things here, okay? Good night, caller. Do we have a call online? Hello, good night. Do we have a caller online?
What happened? I'm sorry.
Hello, good night.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, okay. Good night. I am going to take your response. Give me just a minute, okay? Thank you for calling to utsnnetwork.com, radio and television, into What's the Matter with the World? Have the families gone mad? We are going to hear some real life mind-boggling things that we know of a fact that this drug that is not only conducive to household items, but as it evolves itself into the Western Hemisphere and so on, it's now incorporating itself to our children's platform. And we're going to learn from some children themselves, how this arrived into their system, how it arrived at their schools, or how it comes to them, in other words. And the number to call is 954-309-2426. That's 954-309-2426. If you have any response to this, if you would like to give us your point of view, if you would like to tell us a little bit about your encounter with marijuana, No, let me quickly also point out that in 1830, Sir William Brooks O'Shaughnessy, an Irish doctor in India, discovered that it helps to lessen stomach pain, vomiting in cholera patients, and it lessens nausea and promote hunger. But as it rises itself in the Western Hemisphere, coming closer now to the 1990s, we find that our young people started taking this on, and it crept itself into the schoolrooms of our children. Um, Good night. Could you tell us, are you hearing me properly? Yes. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Can you hear me, caller? Hello, caller, can you hear me? There is a screeching in your background. Hello? Hello, caller, can you hear me? Let me ask Dalton if he can help me here with what's going on. Hello, can you hear me, caller?
Gonna call me into this room.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Like freaking UTS and so we're looking on the car.
Hello, you're on. Hello, can you hear me? Yes, Jennifer? You're not hearing me? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, now check the screeching sound that is coming in your background to see if there is a. Okay, okay, you're good. It's gone now. Are we hearing each other?
Yes.
Great, great. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. I
Of
want to.
course.
Yes, it's a pleasure, really a pleasure having you. And I thank you for sharing so that you can help us to understand and parents understand what is really going on out there. Tell us a little bit about yourself, as much as you want to disclose. Just a little bit.
Well, last year it was actually around my eighth grade year, which is a very early start.
Mm.
I have experienced this, but it's not my best moment. Although, it's just so easy to get a hold of these things nowadays that you don't really realize the impact that it could make
Mm.
on on other people, on yourself. And I actually got in contact with someone that was really close with me, which influenced me to take quote unquote edible gummies, which you would say now edibles. And
Mm.
it's it's surprising actually because you wouldn't you wouldn't imagine that these gummies could do so much to you. But my experience was that I was really uneducated in what this could do. Clearly, since I'm under the impression that weed is like it was like relaxation drugs, and you know what, and
Oh.
people are as well. Although what happened is that when I ate a few of these gummies, I had like around three small, and they have no taste other than normal gummies, and they're packaged exactly how you would find them in the store, which is actually crazy since young
Really?
kids young kids are so easily influenced, especially as they're packaged exactly as how you'd find the regular gummies at the store, which is really dangerous as there's no warning or nothing. And what happened to me is that I had a few of these, and it after about an hour, I lost consciousness in my legs, my arms. I couldn't hear anything. My eyesight was. I started to lose my eyesight,
What?
and yeah, it was really crazy, and it was really bad. That day, I was almost 100% sure that I was gonna die. I know that sounds really crazy to say, but yeah.
Let me ask
And
you.
yeah, go ahead.
Don't forget where you are there, Jennifer. Um, where are you talking to me from? Are you?
Uh, I'm actually at a festival, a Brazilian film festival in Miami Beach.
Oh, okay. So you're in Florida. You're talking to me from Florida. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So I'm gonna call you the Florida caller. Yes. Um, let me get it straight. Was this a stranger who offered you this gummy, or was it a fellow classmate? I know you say
No,
that
no.
it's a friend of yours, but are they a fellow classmate of your age level?
Yes, it was a classmate of mine, but they got it from someone else who was older.
Mercy. And you see that the package was very much similar
It was
to.
exactly the same. It was exactly the same.
Oh my goodness.
It's the trolley gummies. If you go to like a supermarket or Walgreens, you'll see they have the trolley gummies. It was the exact same packaging, like no difference at all. They just had a little tiny label at the bottom that said THC. That's the only difference.
What is written at the bottom?
THC.
T as in tango, H as in Harry, and C as in cat?
Yes, the weed THC. Yeah.
Oh, yes, just as what I had explained a while ago about the tetra hydrocannabidiol. That's
Yeah.
what the THC stands for, but they put it in tiny writing at the bottom. Did that child preempt you or tell you what will do for you, or just give it to you as a normal candy? He or she just give it to you.
No, no. We both knew what it was. It's just that I had no idea that it would have done
The
that
effect.
much.
Okay, my goodness. Okay, Jennifer. No, what? I keep calling you Jennifer.
So
Um, um, let me see here. You're talking to me from Florida, so you're my Florida guest. Correct? Yes.
yep.
Let me ask you a quick question. Um, when you realize that you start having these feelings in your body, did you find somebody you trust to tell what's going on, or did you end up in a hospital, or it just go away by itself, the feelings?
Oh no, it was really bad. As in, I told you, I was sure that I was gonna die. So I was in public with this person that was also who had done the same thing with me, and I didn't know. I couldn't really speak that well, and it was, as I said, I didn't know what was going on, and then I ended up in the hospital because I needed help. I was telling people that I needed help since I thought I was gonna die.
Oh, mercy. How long did you stay in the hospital?
It was just that one day. It was a day, and then I recovered the rest at home the next day. So.
Thank God for that. Thank God for that. So, let me ask you, in light of what happened, what advice can you give parents and children?
That they should keep an eye out on the use of like social media because it's so easy to find it. You see it, it's like a message. You could just easily buy things with no ID. You could be like a minor, a kid, and you know you never.
What?
It's super easy to find that kind of stuff here in Florida. So I think they should keep a little bit of an eye out on kids and social media because that's how I see it most commonly being found.
Oh my goodness. I'm really overwhelmed by this. What you're
Yeah.
sharing with us, that in that subtle way, it works its way into your life in the school, on the school property, without teachers and anybody in charge realizing what was going on. And how soon after the ingestion you started
Oh,
feeling the effect?
wait, no, but this wasn't in school. This was out of school.
It was off the school property.
Yeah,
Okay. And you say you were about 8th grade, so that was about, let me see what age. Um,
that was like I was 13, 14.
oh my goodness. Children are dabbling in those things at that age level and have easy access on top of that. You know. Oh, wow. So we are another word that you want to send to our young people is what? What tip you can also tell to fellow children, students?
I honestly think that weed is very stupid. Just how any drug is, but especially
It's very stupid indeed.
since it's the easiest, like it's the most common one at the moment. I would think for younger kids, and I think that it's pointless. There's no reason for you to be doing it.
And it destroys your body. It destroys
Yeah.
your body because maybe if you did not get that medical attention in time, probably you would be dead. Probably you would be dead.
Yeah.
Wow. Jennifer, my Floridian, I just thank you so much for sharing this with us because wherever someone is around the world listening, now you're pointing out to me that we don't have to have the actual weed in front of us, rolling it, putting it together, and smoking it and smoke zooming out of your mouth and nostrils. It, it is
Yeah.
coming to you in different forms. And I thank you so much for sharing this with us. And I ask you to help me to join in the fight to protect our children and our students by praying for our children and our students whenever you remember this experience. Thank you
Yes.
so much. Yes,
You're
thank you.
so welcome.
Pardon me?
Okay.
Yes. Thank
Have
you.
a good night.
Thank you very, very much. And take care of yourself and all the best in your
Yes, I am.
studies. Okay? Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Yes. Okay. And we are gonna go into our break at this time, and after our break, we are gonna open back the line. And you will hear as many that want to call in will do so. Yes, we are going into our break right now. While we're coming on to that, we want to also identify the fact that we know that the medicinal purpose was discovered. We can see here that it went into another phase, which is the recreational weed. All right? Just one verse.
Go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself.
You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here, and whether or not
Put it after the chorus. Not yet, after the chorus.
no doubt the universe is unfolding as the truth.
Yes, we are back with you again as I remind you that our sponsors for this program, the second half, is Cozy Guest House. That's Cozy Guest House, Florida, where you get the same luxury for half the price. That's Cozy Guest House, Florida, where you get the same luxury for half the price. And the number to call when you are in Florida or your loved ones is 954-479-8212. That's 954-479-8212. Whenever your loved ones are in Florida, tell them about Cozy Guest House. All right, so we are going to quickly go on to phase 2 here, wherein we talked about it turning into a recreational weed, or what they call it, the same marijuana. And we told you that the Iranians were one of the first set to be found inhaling the smoke from it. It was also made in what we call the hashish form, and that was as far back as the Middle Eastern time in 1800 BC. So you know how far back these practices went, and it was popular among the Islams as well. Its spread was really, really great, and until it embarked into the United States in the 1900s, okay, via the Mexicans. But countries like Jamaica, with their great legendary singer Bob Marley, puts it on a pedestal wherein it was looked upon as cool among our young people, as accepted and embraced now on a different level, a social level. And as you know, it was eventually criminalized, and by the what they call the Tax Act, excise tax on sale, possessions, and transfer of this drug. There was now a law on that and a tax on it as well. They also had an industrial law on it. No, it exclude industrial usage. But if you are caught in any way with it over 4 grams, am I right? You can be imprisoned. As a matter of fact, the first victim to this tax law was Samuel Caldwell, who spent 4 years in jail for this. We're going to open the line again, and the number to call is 954-309-2426. That's 954-309-2426, where we will take our next caller. Feel free to call in and give us your experience as a young person, or just across the board, doesn't matter the age. Let us know what it has done to you, how you get it, and what tip you can give to our young people. So please feel free to call in and let us know what it does to you, or help us to know what goes on in the school world there. Okay? Now let me continue with letting you know how they end up trying to control this substance, as with the evolution of as I said, people like Bob Marley, that Jamaican legendary star, it blew some more in the Western Hemisphere. Let me take another caller. Good night, caller. Good night. Can you hear me? Welcome to UTSN Network.com, radio and television. Can you hear me? Okay, hold. Let me see what's happening here. Okay, let me try and... Okay, hello, good night.
Hello, good night.
Okay, I can hear you. Good night. Thank you for calling UTSNnetwork.com, radio and television, to What's the Matter with the World. Have the families gone mad? As we join the force in saving our children, one child at a time. No, good night, good night, good night. Where are you calling us from?
I'm in the state of Florida.
All right, okay. Now, tell me a little bit about yourself and, why this topic has drawn you to call us.
I began consuming marijuana in high school. And I've seen the impact that it can have. This topic is very pertinent. As the other caller stated before, it is such an easy thing to get your hands on, and as you stated, it has become part of the pop culture. And so, as anything in popular culture, it's very widespread. It has gained its place on its own pedestal.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
I can say that like a little bit about me. Thankfully, I was able to go from a place of using to not using, but I did
Praise
use
God.
for
Mm-hmm.
I did use for many years, about 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
That began in the ninth grade.
That would be about 15 years old.
Yes, correct.
Uh-huh. Okay, okay. Uh-huh. And
And I would just say, it when I did start using it, it was something that it just didn't appear as much of a big deal. It came pre-rolled, and it had names like um, purple, purple haze, and
so what that package, that's another kind of candy. As the previous caller mentioned, she's mentioned it was introduced to her in the form of a gummy bear. So this purple haze.
these were pre-rolled marijuana blunts, they call them.
Oh
But
wow!
they were advertised even as having a sweet taste to it. As the
Wow!
other caller stated, an appeal for even a younger population.
Mm. So what platform did you access this, or do young people access this?
Well, we had we had there were other students that were selling it from the they would what would happen is that the street dealers would use these other children to sell it inside of the high school.
Oh mercy! What was the incentive to these children, these sellers then, or the in go-between person? Were they actually paid then? That's what I mean. What kind of remuneration they got?
Yes, they would purchase it. They would get it in bulk. They would purchase a lot of the kids in the area where I went to high school come from very wealthier backgrounds and very wealthy parents, and really and truly the kids would just simply save up their lunch money. But the kids that would sell it, their lunch money was $150, $200 for the week. They would
Ooh.
purchase it in larger
bulk. Mm-hmm.
So their incentive was they made profit off of it, of course.
Mercy, Father. So the perception that people have that marijuana is only used by low income children or children from high crime rate
No,
areas is wrong then.
That is absolutely a false perception. It's something that is used across the board. If anything, the higher
The wealth level.
the wealthier, the more it is affordable. It's used across the board. Rich, poor, black, white, everything in between, really.
Mercy. Oh my goodness. Let me ask you, my third question to you, my friend, is tell us real quickly how your body react to it, or what was the first kind of reaction you felt, and how did the reaction evolve from one type of if behavior pattern or effect to another type, or tell me a little bit about the first reaction you had and you.
To be honest, I remember. Yes, I remember the first day. And the first day, it was raining the day, and I remember once it hit, I had no concern for the rain. I was no longer bothered by the rain. But I think one of the things is that I believe I've been diagnosed with depression in my adult life. and I would say that perhaps there was a lot of there's a lot of self-medicating, and so there was a lot of anxiety and things of that nature, and I found that it was a way of coping with that.
Okay, okay. So you didn't have any negative reaction to marijuana, you're saying? It
I
there
wouldn't
is.
say that there was many negative reactions in terms of there were many times where I had that paranoia feeling like you're going to die, but certainly that is a psychosis. That is a state
That
of
comes with
in the
it.
mind itself. That's a in the mind thing. Certainly, science have proven that no reasonable quantities can really kill you in a short period of time. However, I did have many a times where you have that psychosis, that feeling that everyone is conscious of you and everyone is looking at you, and the police, every siren you hear, you think it means every police officer coming for you.
Coming after you.
And of course the forgetfulness, and there were many effects: falling asleep in class, very many negative effects, a lack of disrupting in the desire to do well. I wouldn't call it a laziness per se. Just like said, the things that you care about kind of fall off.
While you're at that point, a study had come out in Jamaica. Actually, from this study came out from Jamaica, wherein one in every 10 young man have tried marijuana, and one in every 14 person that have tried marijuana have dropped out of school in one way or the other. Some of them voluntarily, some of them just find themselves can't keep up. And so the streets of that island, I'm just using them, but you also have here in America, and we can see we're in Mexico and India and so on. We're in the academic level.
Yes, certainly, studies have shown that. In my own personal experience, I found that although I was a very, very highly motivated person, it did. I found myself not in the moment being as ambitious, and then even to the point where you'd sleep it off, wake up, and you say, oh shoot, I have to go and get this done, I have to get that done. So especially in the moment, being on the high, you become very relaxed. And so I heard you mention earlier that they use it for certain mind relaxations and things, but the thing about that, about the statistics that you bring up, is that, of course, even I was taught these statistics in high school, but we just never really. It very gradually edge away in the long term. Even when you're not high, it starts to gradually edge away at your drive, really, and so a person like myself, who had a high motivated person, aspirations, right, found that it was indeed very difficult to stay on track. They have these statistics that a large percentage of people never complete college. Well, I was also kicked out of college as well. Now a little later in life, I'm pushing my 30s. I find myself
trying to play catch up,
getting back on track and such.
Okay. Because here it says that it eats away at. Let me read a part here. It says it substantially impairs the memory and the retention capability, and even the cognitive skills and judgmental skills are displaced or impaired. And so, can we say it would affect driving ability, or if you're a driver, or not in the same way that alcohol would, but would we say it impairs that as well?
Certainly, reaction time can be greatly impaired. Reaction time, and that, of course, can be very dangerous if you're not able to react fast enough to a dynamic road situation. Many car accidents have happened, but often, you find that you're actually more overcautious than the other drivers. If you see someone driving too slow on the road, it's possible that they're high.
Oh, really? Okay.
But this is something that is really everywhere. The marijuana, like I said, and I just want to say, kids need to feel supported. They need to be feel supported and confident to know that they really are more than enough. I certainly grew up with a lot of love, but I still had this feeling of needing to be perfection. Have perfection.
Don't be hard on yourself.
Yeah, children need to feel a sense of pride in who they are. They really need to be comfortable to bring any issues to their parents, because a lot of children and a lot of adults even will use to mask or to cover or to avoid certain pains. But if we really want children to not fall prey to use, we really have to be open and accepting parents.
Wow.
Like I said, most users don't come to it. Most users who continue to use after that initial
trial,
you continue to use for an escape.
Let me ask you. Stick a pin there. How are these children able to hide this very important, this great change in their lives, this introduction of marijuana into their life? Or are they able to mask it? In your case, you said for 13 to 14 years, for so long, without the parents literally putting a finger on it. What are some of the masking avenues that young people use that you can probably tell parents out there?
Well, probably the most simple thing is the eye drops that cover the redness of the eye. So maybe that initial appearance can be masked. But really and truly, there are many signs that a parent can look out for. It's just a matter of knowing the signs. I mean, if you see a change a significant change in your child's behavior, lacking interest in activities that they're normally interested in. Of course, teenagers sleep a lot, but perhaps it could be a red flag if you find your child sleeping too much. Too much. Certainly, a very, very simple thing to look out for really is the avoidance of any eye contact. Avoiding eye contact, because it gives you that sense of that paranoia that everybody knows. So one can look out to see if their child is constantly avoiding eye contact, disappearing to their room for. I mean, like I said, teenagers, there's a very thin line here. But they always spend a lot of time in their rooms. They're teenagers.
True. But I'm writing down everything you say.
But it's a matter of if it feels like maybe they're avoiding activities, avoiding things they normally like. Grade slipping, right? Grade slipping. is probably a very, very, very potent indicator. Um,
See.
if they do sports and you see them no longer interested in the sports, irritability. Of course, teenagers eat a lot, but yeah, that one is really hard. That one is really
Wow.
hard. But the marijuana does make you want to eat even more. But then again, teenagers eat a lot, so.
And so increased appetite. Oh goodness.
Increased appetite. Not doing any of the chores anymore, like if they once did chores. And that's the thing. It's having a rapport with your child, knowing who your child is. It's not easy to really pick out the signs, especially when it comes to marijuana. But building and maintaining a relationship and open conversation with your child, because then you can notice if they're no longer interested in having any conversations, and as far as you know, you haven't done anything at fault to strain the relationship, then certainly unreasonable avoidance of conversation can be a red flag. Speak with their teachers. Are they sleeping in the classroom? That is one thing that is probably a big red flag. I personally would fall asleep in the classroom.
Okay. What about the smell? The marijuana carries a very distinctive smell.
Yes, it carries a distinctive smell. However, there's many ways to mask the smell and to hide the smell. Everything from mouthwash.
Oh dear.
Get it out your mouth, and often if you it'll bring a change of shirt, and it only takes an hour or two after smoking for the smell to really come off of you. So really, smell is not really much of a it's not a reliable source of finding out
of
this
recognizing.
information.
Okay. Wow. We are coming up to the news, but I must thank you so much for sharing this information with us. Is there anything else before you go that you could tell throughout to our parents there to share, to let them know, just to save one child at a time?
Yes, it's about your child's mental health and being healthy. If children if children are encouraged to love themselves by the example of unconditional love from their parents, if they feel free and open to be themselves with their parents' support, they're much less likely to turn to drugs to avoid pain. So love your child unconditionally, support them, get to know them. And don't expect them to just be a reflection of who you are. Expect them to be their own people.
Yes. Thank you so much. And I want to point out to our listeners out there that because of this, what he listed out there, all of those imperatives coming on as a result of marijuana, smoking, or usage, you find that you have a decline in schoolwork and decline in acquiring skills or developing to fit into society. When you have that lack of educational status or the lack of ability, your earning abilities is gone, then you end up being on the employment line. If you're on the employment line, then you are always on the receiving end. And a society with so many young people coming in, not bringing anything to the table, but looking to government for help. or they have no earning power or low earning power, it turns out that we have a lot of idlers on our hands. When you have a lot of idlers on your hands, then you have what is called people who are in need. They have children. These young people turn out to be parents, but they cannot suffice. So they end up stealing and the crime rate goes up. And the list goes on. So please, parents, join us next week again as we continue on to part 2. Callers, I thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And may God continue to bless you and keep you. And kudos to you for rising again and being on the road to being a victor and overcomer. And now you are spreading the word to save one child at a time. Thank you and goodbye for now from What's the Matter with the World. Have the families gone mad and join us next week. So sorry the rest of callers, we can't take any more for tonight. But goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
8 until 9, oh yeah.
Child of God, I am a child.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will be one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, or brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will live.
Welcome to a global experience broadcasting to the world. UTSNnetwork.com. News, sports, music, community service, and agricultural information. Stay tuned.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words